I'll try to work through it as we go. Hopefully
Okay.
I can figure it out. Okay, we got 20 seconds. I'll do an introduction and I'll bring you in.
Okay.
Keep it hot every day.
How you doing? How you doing, everybody? This is Soapbox Heroes. My name is Tyrone Irvin. Again, I am here with wonderful news. I have wonderful news for thy ears to hear. Everybody in terrestrial land, I have a wonderful treat for you. If you're watching over on YouTube, if you watch later, I am here with the one and only Cynthia Mckinney. Yes, Cynthia Mckinney. She was the first Black woman elected in Georgia as a congresswoman, if I'm not mistaken, 6 times elected. And I was telling her just a bit earlier, it's not just her I appreciate, it's her courage. So everybody, we have Cynthia Mckinney here with us. Cynthia, how are you today?
Well, I'm doing great, and I'm happy to be a part of the Soapbox Heroes channel.
Yes, I am happy. I am so happy to have you here. I have to get the visual right, but we'll work through that. I'm just happy to have you here. And so, Cynthia, I have been an admirer of yours for a long time. And like I said, I just want to tell you again in person and on the air that I admire your courage and the conviction in which you do. And here, let's start like this. Let's tell everybody a little bit about you, Cynthia. You're Cynthia Mckinney, 6-time Congresswoman, and let's go from there. Let's let everybody know who you are.
Well, it's kind of hard because I spent so much time doing stuff that you don't take adequate, sort of stock of what it is that you do because you're so busy. But right. I started out, sort of my political awareness was honed from the civil rights movement. So I am of that era. And as a result of that, it taught me the value of participation and activism, because of course, in the civil rights movement, there were accomplishments that were won. And the lesson was that whenever we come together and we have an agenda and we fight for that agenda, we win. And yes. So you can put that in stark contrast to sort of activism without mission, activism without vision, and activism without an agenda that I see taking place in large measure in today. Okay. So that was one thing. And then after that, my dad believed that it was insufficient for us to ask for public policy changes, that we should put ourselves in a position to make public policy changes. And so that went from protesting and asking to the passage of the Voting Rights Act, which allowed us to actually participate and make public policy. So my dad ran for office several times. And before the passage of the Voting Rights Act was just basically impossible for a Black candidate to run and win, especially one who was handpicked by the community and not handpicked by outsiders of the community. And so after the passage of the Voting Rights Act, my dad was elected, and then of course set the stage for me later on to serve in the Georgia legislature with him and then move on to Congress.
Wow. So you got to serve in the legislature with your father. What kind of experience was that to be able to go to work and have someone who cares about you and give you some information? What's some information that he gave you when you first got there, Cynthia?
Well, one thing that he said, at that time, the matter of the Georgia flag, which had the St. Andrew's cross on it, which is a Confederate flag, Confederate battle flag. And even though it's still, today's Georgia flag still harkens to the Confederacy, it's not as blatant and as in your face as
Right in your
was
face.
the St. Andrew's cross. So anyway,
Right.
I was writing an article about the decision that was made after the Brown versus Board of Education decision to put the St. Andrew's cross on the Georgia state flag. And my dad told me, he said, Cynthia, they put their pants on just like you do. Was very instructive because, you know, they lionized these people who had been there forever in the Georgia legislature.
Okay.
And the same goes for Congress as well. These people are lionized. And you think that you know, they really do have a roar. You think that they're superior in every way. And then you find out that you can out strategize them, you can outthink them.
Yes.
You know, and so if you can marshal your resources, you can actually have a public policy victory despite them. So that was one of the real good lessons that my dad taught me, and I think it carries over even today. So that the attitude that I took to Congress was that whether it was Nancy Pelosi or Steny Hoyer, or really didn't matter to me because they put their pants on just like I did.
That's
well,
like
that got me into a lot of trouble though.
Yes, yes. You know what, Cynthia? Let's talk a little bit about that trouble. When you first, and I've read and I've heard you mention, when you first got elected, you got some sort of pledge from the military of Israel or something of that nature. What was that all about? You get there and you get a fax. What was that about?
Well, it really was about pulling me in line with the other 434 members of Congress, members of the House of Representatives. Well, I should say the 534 other members of the US Congress, because basically there's 100% agreement about the role that the United States should play, must play in the life and vitality of the state of Israel, no matter how the Israelis might treat the Palestinians, doesn't matter. And so, well, it didn't matter to the other 534.
Yes, to everyone else aside from you.
It mattered to me. And
yes.
So that was another set of enemies I met.
And this is right on arrival. Right on arrival. So
yeah,
you're making
that's right.
So you're making enemies. Go ahead.
The lesson, see, this was before I arrived. This is in the process of attempting to arrive. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. By the time your member of Congress is sworn in, they've already been bought off by the powers that be. So in order for you to have an impact on the policy decisions of your representative, the ideal situation is for you to attempt to become the representative, because otherwise, if your representative is an incumbent, I'm sorry, but they've already been up there, become accustomed to the way business is done, which is basically you have to love the special interests before you're even allowed to love your own constituents.
Okay, yeah, you got to, and that's something that I've noticed and we talk about a lot here. You're there, you've been there 12 years serving. What is some of the experiences that you've had to reflect to the, well, let me ask you this. Do you feel as if they are generally the same when it comes to the corporate interests and certain things aside from certain wedge issues that Republicans and Democrats most of the time when it comes to things both the same? I'm talking war, these latest stimulus packages that passed 96-0, in which they complained about after. Is that something that, you know, it just happens on a fringe, or is that just a part of the system in which we live in now?
Well, it's, if you pay attention to the way fundraising is done on Capitol Hill. So my experience was that there's a list, and it doesn't really matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican, you get the same list. So that means that Democrats are calling the Fortune 500 CEOs and Republicans are calling the Fortune 500 CEOs. And so if you're all calling the same people, and then the same people are all giving you money, then that means that you're basically dancing to the tune of the same people. And therein lies the problem with our system of governance, so that you have an illusion of choice. I was outside of a supermarket in Seattle, Washington, and the gentleman, I was campaigning as the Green Party nominee.
Yes.
And a gentleman came up to me and said, you know, I just left the store and there's 8 different types of Oreo cookie. Yet I'm only given 2 choices when it comes to my voting, my political power. And he was absolutely right. It was an example that stuck with me because the shelves are lined with choice after choice after choice after choice. But the most important choice in your life, which is what kind of political system and governance, who gets to even occupy seats in the governance system, you're only limited to 2 choices. It's absolutely totally wrong. It's absolutely totally controlled. And you're absolutely and totally right that at the end of the day, they're both the same.
Okay, well, what is the blinders over people's eyes to where it's so hard to see? Because I'll look at certain things and I'll hear a lot of people, they'll say things about Donald Trump. And I'll say, well, it almost seems like we have the same cycle of things that were said about Barack Obama, just on the other side. And it seems like we just keep having the same cycle of conversation. And I feel like sometimes if you only focus on one person and you don't focus on what's allowing that person to do whatever it is you don't like, then you're just going to continue to stay in the same bind. Why is it that we don't see what's going on in front of us?
Well, that's a darn good question. I asked the same thing. Let me just give you an example from this very week. So I'm sick and tired of people, the choices, the uninformed or maybe even dysfunctional choices that people make in terms of the leadership of the governance system of the United States. And so basically what I decided to do was to conduct a poll. And so on my Twitter, which allows you to do a poll, I did this poll where I discussed the leadership choices. And I'm trying to find the poll now so I can tell you exactly what I wrote. But anyway, basically, the thrust of the poll, here we go, is the question was, what kind of leadership would you rather have? And so then the respondents have 3 choices. 1, they can have a face that is selected by the US deep state and that face can represent them. Second choice, you can have the face of an authentic community leader who's proven and tested. Third choice was, I don't know the difference. Now, the thing that was so striking was that 42% of the respondents said that they didn't know the difference.
Really?
And that, yes. And so, see, that explains how you can have, now, the way I apply this and what made me think about it was my own life. So here I am, I'm trying to serve my constituents. I represent all of my constituents, Black and white. I just happen to be Black, and my constituents who are in the most need are also Black. But I'll help anybody who is my constituent. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, so now comes Rahm Emanuel, and on the issue of Israel, which has nothing to do with my constituents now, but because of my support for the human rights of the Palestinian people, then Rahm Emanuel decides that he's going to come inside the Black community and select another Black face to represent Black people in my district. Now, what's wrong with that? Well, what this poll tells me is that my Black face and the Black face represented by that was selected by Rahm Emanuel, in the eyes of the voters, was the same. They could not tell the difference between someone who loved them as I did, and that love was represented by the way in which I represented them in Washington, D.C., versus someone who was selected to be a face in front of them by somebody from outside of the community. Yeah, and then Rahm Emanuel does, after having done this in Georgia to the Black community, goes from Washington, D.C. back to Chicago to run for mayor, and he wins every Black precinct. Yep. So this shows me beyond a shadow of a doubt that no matter how much love I poured out for my community, unless my community took the time to understand that leadership, authentic leadership that comes from inside the community, cannot be replicated by a Black face that's selected from outside of the community is going to suffer. So yes. I was forced to leave the United States because I couldn't get a job anywhere because, I made the most powerful lobby on the planet angry at me. And then I was there for 6 years, and now I'm back, because of all of this COVID stuff that's going on. And
wait, you can't cough.
I know, but I've been talking all day. Let me have drink some water.
Somebody may parachute in with the hazmat suit and and offer to take your blood. This is something.
No. They won't offer. They won't offer because Big Brother is on the way. So they won't offer. This time it's an offer. Next time it's gonna be a demand, and we have to stop them now. Because if we don't stop them now, I can guarantee you it's gonna get far worse in the future.
Well, Cynthia, speaking of that, I've seen a lot of angst from different people. And the way I'm perceiving it is because people are getting so much different information, they don't know what to believe. And so now we're seeing a divide in between people, between the citizens in the country. And it's not even all just based on color or region, but you have some people who feel, it's time to open up the cities. I don't want to have my rights taken away. Then you have people that are they're saying, I'm afraid. If you breathe on me, I'm going to melt. And so we have these two things going on. How do we distinguish between the two? And how do we get here to where people are so angry over two understandable apprehensions?
Well, one thing is that more people need to look at your show and turn off the television, because the television is providing 24/7, 365, nothing but fear porn. And as a result of that, you're getting a lot of detail, but you're not getting usable information. You're getting a lot of unusable information, but you're not getting educated. So that's a huge problem. And it goes back also as an explanation for the result of the poll, where 42% of the people say they didn't even know the difference.
Don't know the difference. Yeah. And
so you have to turn off the television and start reading and doing some critical thinking.
Yeah, reading. It seems like we have to learn how to read between the lines and pull out the good from some places and leave the bad, because even when we hear about, like, Dr. Fauci, I saw a very interesting documentary that was being passed around and deleted yesterday, and it was it was conflicting with a lot of what Dr. Fauci was saying, and it was someone who used to work with him, and she had a story to tell. But it seems like we are being led to just believe one person. What do you think that is going to do to people? The shadow banning, the coalescing to one direction of information. Is that something that you've noticed? And what do you think the ramifications of that is?
Well, I was in Facebook prison for almost a year and a half.
They kept you locked.
So I mean, I get it very well. I understand. The last thing we need is big tech telling us how to think. But you see, he who controls the way you think will also control the way you behave. And so therein is the mission of these people, to control the way we behave. After culling the herd, the next phase would be to make sure that the herd is docile and tame.
And it seems like the people who aren't docile and tame, they get slammed. And what I say is, well, hold on. Whatever side of the fence that you may be on, it's understandable whichever side that you're on. But it seems like, again, this whole two-party system thing, and people just being so focused on one thing or another, we're stuck in a haze. Cynthia, how do we get out of this haze? And especially when it comes to this coronavirus, and I want to talk about coronavirus in a little more detail, but how do we get out of this haze? Do you got some advice?
Well, other than turn off the television, that's a huge bit of advice. I mean, I struggle with that with my mom, who just can't understand. I've been away. I've been out of the country for 6 years, and I have been back in the United States for 6 months. And I cannot stand to sit upstairs with her with the television on. Now, I will look at the game shows with her, and I will look at, at one point when we had XFL, I was looking at the XFL and all of the athletics, but I cannot look at that other stuff. I just refuse to insult my brain by looking at CNBC, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, and Fox and all of the rest, CNN and the rest of them. I just refuse to do that. It's an insult to my brain and my skills of critical analysis. So I don't do that. And more people have got to do that. Even that's the corporate funded media. But we also have a problem with the foundation funded media, because what they have done is they have usurped the position of the far right and the far left. And so we've got this foundation funded media that has been substituted, and I call it now the faux left and the faux right, with faux meaning false. And so yes, and so now what we have is false left media and false right media. And if you're not astute enough to understand, then and your point about the left and the right coming together, or the Dems and the Repubs not really being too different on some issues like matters of war and peace.
Yes.
You can really see it in this media. So, for example, in the book that I edited about the illegal war in Libya, that was called, the title of the book was that as well. Basically what we did was in one of the chapters, one of the contributors did a detailed analysis of Democracy Now!, which a lot of people on the left go to Democracy Now! And they look at Democracy Now! As the sort of arbiter for how they're supposed to think on certain issues. But Democracy Now! Was in favor of the bombing and the destruction of Libya, as was Democracy Now! In favor of the bombing and the destruction of Syria. So here you have a so-called progressive media outlet that is in favor of the destruction of whole countries. That is not progressive at all. And it's not a left position. It is a faux left position. And then we have to understand that. So basically, now who's going to tell you that? If you don't, if say your critical thinking skills have not been honed to the extent where you can sort of figure that out, then you will be part of that I don't know the difference crowd in my poll. You will be a part of the misled. And let me just tell you how average ordinary folk can figure this thing out. In 2010, I was doing a bicycle ride across the country. It was with an organization called Bike for Peace. And so it was very difficult for me to cross the Sierra Nevada. And after that, I had to get a doggone car. So I was not going to cross the Rockies on a bicycle, believe me. But the people I was with, they were able to climb the Rocky Mountains on a bicycle. I mean, it's phenomenal. Wow. But anyway, so, and I live to do that again. So if there's anybody in your audience who wants to do another cross-country adventure, it took us, let me see, I think it was 30 days to do the whole cross-country. We started in Oakland, California, and we ended up in Washington, D.C. and basically did centuries every day. Sort of that was the goal, to get 100 miles done every day. Okay. So I didn't do 100 miles in all of the states, especially the mountainous ones, but I did do 100 miles on the last day. So I got my century in too. But anyway.
Are you going to do the Rockies this time?
No, I'm in even worse shape now, and I'm a whole lot older, but I have a much better bicycle. So maybe
the difference.
That's right. It might make the difference, because it's all in the gears, and so I have a much better bicycle. And the thing about it also is that we were climbing. We did the Sierra Nevada, and we had everything on us. So we were carrying on the bicycle. We were carrying our tent, our sleeping, our cooking gear, our clothing. Everything that we took with us was on the bicycle. So, we were carrying some extra poundage as well. So now, anyway, yeah. So please, if there's anyone who wants to do another adventure, I am your adventure girl.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, though, in 2010, we're doing this, and then of course Libya happened in 2011, and it was just amazing the number of people on the left who were in favor of the war. And of course, many of them Democrats, so that's not the left. And so the Democratic Party is, while it might have been the left at one point, it's no longer the left. You can't advocate for war and then consider yourself of the left. It's just impossible.
Yeah, you know, Cynthia, I've even heard in smaller conversations, I've heard different celebrities say things like, well, I hate Donald Trump and I can't stand him and I'm a Democrat, but I love those tax cuts. And I'm like, well, that's not really, you know, what you should be, what you're standing for. You're kind of conflicting in what you're saying. Let me ask you this, and well, this is something I think I noticed, and just let me know what you think about it. I value your opinion more than astronomically. I think when it comes to information and news, I think we have a generational gap to where people of a certain age still rely on certain news a certain way. And younger people may be able to go to different sources. I mean, we have the Freedom of Information Act now, and we know how to get to that information. We have the Julian Assanges and people like that of the world to where we can understand certain things. But it seems like when we talk to the generations older who may just watch the local news or CNN, because CNN is never wrong. Is that something you notice do you think that is a big problem? Is where we're getting our information based on our ages and our eras?
Well, that very well could be, and I had not thought about that. But here's the thing. Okay, so if you got so many young people who are getting their information from Julian Assange, why is Julian Assange still almost at death's door?
Yes.
What's going on? And why is the United States trying to extradite him? And why, you know, what's going on with young people? If WikiLeaks is the source, then there should be more activism around protecting WikiLeaks.
Yes, there
but
should
but I remember watching as Jeffrey Sterling went to prison, and what he did was the right thing to do. Chelsea Manning went to prison. So I think that there's got to be a disconnect. And the people who are well, I was just on a World Journalism Day, a telethon, well, an internetathon for WikiLeaks and for Julian. And from what I saw, most of the people were older. They weren't the millennials.
Yeah. Well, it seems like when it comes to the millennials, there's only certain things that, you know, will get millennials protesting or really, really adamant about something. And it's rare, but it's very rare. But I do feel like it's part of, we're docile now. Everybody's satisfied. Everything is okay. And
well, so, you know what? Young people shouldn't be satisfied. And I'm going to give you one classic example. The Clintons especially ushered in, although it was building for a very long time, but this system of neoliberalism was really ushered in, enforced by the Clinton administration, Bill Clinton. And so basically, what you saw was the financialization of the U.S. economy rather than, the manufacturing capacity was packed up and shipped to China and Mexico. And that was U.S. policy. That was the beginning of it with NAFTA. Yeah. So, and that had tremendous implications for the ability of people to provide for their families, in a situation where those manufacturing jobs that had provided a way of living for people who did not have a lot of education, you know,
Yeah.
like
all the credentials in the world. You didn't have to have
yeah,
a PhD for everything.
exactly. So and that was US policy. That was intentional. That was intentionally done. Okay, and the uh blue collar workers of the United States bore the brunt of that policy decision. So now the millennials are steeped in this neoliberal economy. And what are the effects of this, of the effects in which they have to maneuver and navigate? Well, the neoliberal economy puts an insurance bureaucrat in between the patient and the doctor. It puts a banker in between the professor and the student. So now the fact that you have student loans, I've got a student loan because I went back later and got my PhD, and it cost more than my house.
But not congratulations on costing more than the house, especially when you go to other countries and they're like, "What do you mean, student?"
Exactly, exactly. But you see, so now a system that's totally unjust, that puts a banker in between the student and the professor, is a student that is a system that tampers with US national security. So how does that happen? Well, US national security depends on the United States being able to produce certain quantities of certain goods. And we're seeing that now with the pandemic or plandemic and pandemic. But we're seeing that now where nurses in the United States of America had to put on plastic bags for their personal protective equipment.
Yes.
Now, this is outrageous.
Yes, I've heard people, Cynthia, I've heard people say, well, America is really just it's a third world country in a nice suit. And when you see things like the nurses having to put on plastic bags, people are struggling to find adequate masks and things of that nature. Does it equate? Are we there?
Well, that's the result of the Clinton policy of the 1990s that shipped all of the manufacturing out of this country. That is the result. NAFTA. And so you can't have it both ways. You can't protect your national security and then sell it to the highest bidder overseas. You can't do it. And so this people who want open borders and open this and open that, they're also stealing from other countries. I happen to have been a teacher, a professor in one of those countries. Most third world countries in the rest of the world are socialist countries. And why are they socialist? Because colonialism came to their shores as a result of capitalism. And when they were able to fight for their independence and their freedom, they said the last thing we want is a colonial system. The last thing we want to have. And Kwame Nkrumah is the one who created the new term of neo-colonial to describe the invisible economic chains that still were able to bind most of the former colonial colonized countries. So now we've got this neo-colonial international system that favors some countries and denies other countries. Now, what are those countries that are favored? Well, they just happen to be the countries that were formerly the colonizers. And we know that those are the Western European countries and the United States.
How ironic, Cynthia. How ironic. Oh man, this is what I hear a lot as well. I'll hear this because I'm a person who I'll say, well, I'll vote for whoever is going to give me policy, whoever fits my agenda the most. And I'll say, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat. And people will say, well, that means you're a Republican, especially if I say anything about the Democrats. It's like you cannot say a word about a Democrat without making you a staunch Republican. And almost like it's a put down to say you're one or the other if you don't side with one of them. I think when it comes to the millennials, I think a lot of them are frustrated, not just the millennials, myself. I think I'm Generation X, if I'm not mistaken. And I feel like I'm Generation X. And but there's feel like there's no place to go, Cynthia. Well, I don't like when people say there's not a viable third party. I like to say they make you believe it's not a viable third party so you don't vote for it. But do you think that that's part of the problem, is that just people are just tired and don't know where to go with this two-party system?
Well, I have to go back to my poll and I say, if people don't know the difference, then, we're in real tough shape here. But we almost had a place for them to go. For example, Bernie fooled me once, Bernie fooled me twice. Now you're going to let Bernie fool you again. But,
No.
An endorsement of Hillary Clinton was enough for me. I was already, sort of askance because Bernie's votes for all of Israel's wars were, I just I couldn't support that. And so that was enough. But then when Bernie endorsed Hillary Clinton, that was it for me. That was the loss of all credibility. And then to amass this huge following only to leave them abandoned so that they have to vote for the nearly demented Joe Biden, is just more than an insult. So where do you go? Well, Jesse Ventura had expressed an interest in the Green Party and actually went so far as to fill out the paperwork and become a member of the Green Party, and to fill out the paperwork expressing an interest in running for the nomination. And that was something that I would absolutely have supported. But then I got word just yesterday that he had withdrawn the paperwork citing healthcare issues for his wife, I believe.
Oh,
And
wow.
so therefore, yeah, so that dashes our hopes. But so in a way, you're right that this mass of people whose energies were really high, and they did a lot to support Bernie. Bernie didn't do anything really to give them a place to go, because going to Joe Biden is just not, that's just not a viable.
It to the corporate Democrats, which was something I was afraid of when he ran as a Democrat. I understand running as an independent, it has its hurdles. But my question has been, when are we going to fight? Because if we just keep acquiescing to the same things, we just keep getting the same things. And
You're
now,
absolutely right. And so there's a French philosopher by the name of Jacques Rancière who says that, this is what I teach my students. I teach my students that the most powerful word in politics is no. And Jacques Rancière fills that in with his theory about the un. So now, who are the un? The un are the unheard, unspoken, unimportant people in a political system whose voices really don't count. Those are the un. And Jacques Rancière says, when the un say no, then they are the ones who make a new common sense, a new conventional wisdom. An example of that is the rise of Hugo Chavez. I wrote my dissertation on Hugo Chavez and his transformational leadership in his Parrhesiastes. But what happened that allowed the emergence of Hugo Chavez's leadership was the Caracazo, where the people of Caracas who live in the hills, the real people, not the half Spanish elites, they they voted for a candidate who had promised that he was not going to support the International Monetary Fund structural adjustment program, which means tighten your belt and raise prices for food and gas and all of the living expenses on the poor people. And then the day after he was sworn in as president, what did he do? He got, George W. Bush got him on the phone, and he then subscribed to the IMF.
A little pressure. Yeah.
And so then the people got wind of it and they protested. And not only did they protest, they came down from the hills into Caracas, and they basically had an insurrection. 200 people were killed by the Venezuelan military. But that moment was the moment, that no that Jacques Rancière talks about. And that was the moment when Hugo Chavez emerged as a leader for the people of Venezuela. So as long as we continue to say yes, we're going to get the same old thing. But it's only when we say no that we're able to create an opening for that authentic, community proven, community tested leadership that we deserve, and also that is so much needed at this moment.
Yes, that we could create the opportunity for change. We break the cycle.
Exactly.
Okay. Let me ask you this. We have this presidential election coming up, and I have been looking at the coverage with Tara Reid and Joe Biden, and I listen to people's answers, and they say, well, Donald Trump got away with things. And I say, well, he was shielded too. So we're going to lower the bar for who is shielded the most. We are at a point in time to where it seems like our values are hinged on how low somebody else's values are. People are saying this. They're saying, well, if you vote for a third party, or if you write somebody in, that's a vote for Donald Trump. And we hear so much about Trump. Should we be that afraid of Donald Trump?
Absolutely not. You shouldn't be afraid of Donald Trump, but you should be afraid of the corruption of Joe Biden. And I'm not talking about the Me Too movement and the Tara Reid and all of that that's going on, because quite frankly, I believe her. And because I've been there and I know that kind of stuff.
You know, and Cynthia, that's why I was so glad to be able to speak to you, because you have the experience to be able to say, at least I know how things go in this place. Know. Yeah. And, okay, go ahead. So you believe Tara Reid, and so you're saying his other things that he's done wrong. What are some other things that people should look out for? Because people don't know. Even when I say things about his legislations in the past, people say, Tyrone, you're just lying. You're not making any sense. And I'm like, no, he wrote this bill.
So here we've got Donald Trump, who's no moral icon, and we've got Joe Biden, who's no moral icon. Donald Trump cheated on his wife. Joe Biden was feeling, we've seen pictures of him feeling on women and stuff. I mean, so these are not moral icons. Whatever Trump did before he became president was done outside of the color of office. What Joe Biden is accused of having done, and we've seen the papers. I mean, anybody who cares to look at what Joe Biden and had done for his son Hunter in Ukraine, the paperwork is all there, and you can read about the corruption. You can read it. So in fact, what Joe Biden brags about how he had the equivalent of the attorney general sacked in Ukraine because the attorney general was investigating Joe Biden's corruption.
Yeah.
So now this is done under color of office. And it's not just Ukraine. You can go to Romania. I've read articles about the same MO, modus operandus, that took place in Romania, and then the same thing happened in China, where Hunter is still on the board of a company that, that's
Making
supposedly
billions
got like
of dollars, and he's not
bill-
qualified.
$1 billion. That's right. And this boy spent it on crack cocaine, according to a previous girlfriend, in strip clubs.
I saw that, and I said, how ironic. And his dad was a part of the crack cocaine coke disparity, the time disparity in prisons. And I said, how ironic. Look what we have here.
That's right. How ironic. So here we have someone who's corrupted, as corrupt as Hillary Clinton. Now, Hillary Clinton was so corrupt that I couldn't even, there's just no way. I did everything within my power to make sure that woman never saw the Oval Office. And so now we're going to reward somebody else with the Oval Office who is just as corrupt. The Democrats have not cleaned up their you talk about culture of corruption. It reeks from the Democratic Party. And then on top of that, they want to go into other countries and destroy and kill. It's just unfathomable to me that anybody would support the Democratic Party. It just is beyond me. So you call me whatever you want to, but I have a vision for the world, and I'm not afraid to work for my vision. What kind of world, what are my values? First of all, truth, because we can never do anything based on lies. Justice, because we can never have justice without truth. Peace, because we can never have peace without justice. Dignity, human and earth, because ultimately I am because we are. It's a Ubuntu saying from Africa. And so basically that humanity that we are is derived from each other. And we have to love and respect each other, as I try and do with every human being that I meet. And of course, respect Mother Earth, because without Mother Earth being protected, life just won't exist for us too. So those are my values, and I try to live those values. And then what is it that I want to see? I want to see the United States as a peaceful country pursuing peace in cooperation with other countries around the world. I want to see a multipolar world. I do not want to see the United States as the sole superpower and the cop on every block or all around the planet. So I know what my objectives are, what my mission is. And now how can I get there? I cannot get there by way of the Democratic Party, because that's the warmongering party. That is the party that refuses to accept my my values, because they kicked me out.
and they kicked you out for speaking the truth. Okay, let's talk a little bit about why they kicked you out. Why did they kick you out to where? And I've heard you say you have a hard time even getting a job in the United States, and this is after serving your country admirably. These are the words that we like to throw around, right? But for 12 years, elected, not by accident, on purpose.
That's right. That's right. But you see, I refuse to allow Nancy Pelosi to call the shots for Stone Mountain, Georgia. I refuse to allow Nancy Pelosi to call the shots for New Orleans. And if whatever Nancy Pelosi's priorities are, and we've got her son over there in Ukraine as well. So what has been uncovered through all of this is a little cesspool of Democratic Party leadership corruption. And it needs to be broken up. And I'm glad I got a chance to witness it, to see it. I'm not talking about the 12 years that I was in the Congress. I'm talking about in the last 2 years, more has come to light about the culture of corruption inside the Democratic Party than we have ever known before. What are we going to do about it? Are we going to say yes and allow that culture of corruption to continue? Or will we say no?
Well, Cynthia, a lot of people, what they say is they say, well, the Republicans they're terrible when it comes to race. And when we look at policing now we're looking at the videos coming up of Black men being killed and assaulted by police, which I do think is strategic because we always get the same stuff every time an election cycle comes up. But the stats don't drop throughout the rest of the years, but that's a different subject. But people will say, Cynthia, you know what? The Democrats are just better on race than the Republicans. The Republicans just don't care about Black people as a race. And that's why it happens. Mm-hmm.
Well, if you look at, for example, the city of Chicago after 8 years of Rahm Emanuel as mayor, I don't think you see the improvement of the Black condition. If you look at the cities where Democrats are the mayor, you don't really see the improvement in the conditions of Black people. For example, in one study that was done of Chicago itself, the finding was in the area of home ownership, it would take 1,600 years without a public policy change in intervention for Black home ownership to catch up to white home ownership in the city of Chicago. What did Rahm Emanuel do to allow for more Black home ownership in the city of Chicago? Probably not very much.
I know what he did. He kept his mouth shut about Freddie Gray to make sure that he was elected again. That's what he did. He kept quiet, and he was corrupt. And so that is something. And I know he didn't do anything, to help with housing. But but it seems like it's so hard to get that translated to people. It seems like there is a hold on people even when it comes to just being critical about the Democratic Party. Even if you're critical about things that you see wrong in the Republican Party, I have noticed that even when it comes to the response to the coronavirus, I hear a lot of people saying, well, the Republicans responded badly, the Democrats responded badly. And I'd say, well, they both had a heads up about it, and none of them decided to say anything. In fact, I saw on your Twitter is where I first saw it, and I went and followed up with the question. With the article. I think it was 21 Republicans, 21 Democrats, and 1 independent sold millions of dollars in stocks after finding out about the coronavirus scare, right?
That's right.
And so it eludes me how people can still sit here and argue over sides when we can see exactly what's going on. Now, speaking of the coronavirus, what do you think about this? What do you think, Cynthia? Are we overreacting? Were they giving us a vast overreaction?
There probably was a vast overreaction. Fauci is the swamp for sure. Birx too. Birx and Redfield, who is at the CDC, both were canned. Birx doesn't even have her medical degree, which she had to turn in for ethical. She and Redfield were found guilty of ethical violations in a study that they were doing by fabricating data. So
really?
So here you've got these unethical people. They are the swamp. And for the life of me, I cannot understand why Trump didn't go through the executive branch and fire people left and right when he first got elected. So now he has had to try to survive with the swamp right inside his home, so to speak. So that's been a major problem, and we've got people who are totally without honor, and they are in positions of responsibility, and it's inappropriate. So the coronavirus is a real virus that's been engineered in a laboratory, and so therefore we do have to guard against um, infection, or else you risk real death if you happen to be. Now, in the book that I'm writing,
Mhm.
it's not, well, that I'm editing because I'm collecting writers, but the name of the book is When China Sneezes: From the Wuhan Lockdown to the Global Political Economic Implications. The chapter that I just finished writing was on genocide and the question of whether or not it is possible to engineer a virus so that it will attack a particular race or subgroup. And what I will tell you is that I wrote about 18,000 words, and I still had about another 18,000, but for the lack of space, because it's already going to be a big book, I just couldn't write the second 18,000, although I had them in my head and in my heart. The bottom line is, as one doctor said, and I'll leave you with this because I have to go, but the battlefield is now our bloodstream.
Wow. Wow, the battlefield is now our bloodstream. Cynthia McKinney, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Before you go, can you let people know what you're working on, where to find you, and where to keep up with you? What you do is important, and I just want you to know that anytime you have anything you want to say, I'm all for it. I want you here so you can do what you're doing. I got your back. We got your back.
Well, thank you so much for that, because there is a lot of work to do here. Okay, so I can be found on Twitter under my name, Cynthia McKinney, and I can be found on Facebook, although severely shadow banned, under Cynthia McKinney Official. Just remember, official.
Okay.
And I have a Patreon page where I discuss, it's just brand new, but I discuss whatever it is that people are interested in, and I will invite them to sit in on interviews or whatever. I'll invite my Patreons to do that, to have like a special peer into
That's
what's
smart.
going on. Yeah. So my Patreon page is my name as well, Cynthia McKinney. So that's where they can find me. And I invite people to please check me out and join the conversation.
All right, everybody. And thanks again, Cynthia. That was Cynthia McKinney, activist, six-time Congresswoman, and a integral voice in the world community trying to make things better. So, hey, you guys, we're going to take a quick break. When I come back, we got some more to talk about. We're going to talk about the stuff we're seeing on the TV. Now, I haven't had cable in 5 years, and my life has been so much better. But I had to move the curtain to the side and look a little bit today. And I was so depressed. We're going to talk about it when we come back. This is Soapbox Heroes. We'll be right back right after this.
KCOH Houston Legacy Civic says.
Have you dropped your denture or partial and cracked it? Has a tooth fallen off? No need to wait 2 or 3 days for a repair. At Sunnyside Dental, we have an in-house dental lab. In most cases, we can fix that denture or partial while you wait. That's right, same-day denture repair while you wait. Call Sunnyside Dental, 713-738-1999. 713-738-1999. Let's get that denture fixed, because you know what? You cannot go to church like that.
Hey, Chef, we're doing it again at Lake Bond Crawfish. Friday through Sunday, 10 pounds of crawfish with corn, potatoes, sausage, and turkey necks for only $50. Pre-order now at 713-775-3661 or email info@goodcrawfish.com. Them crawfish good, yes, Chef. Ralph Cooper has covered the legends of HBCUs since 1969. Coaches Eddie Robinson, Jake Gaither, Marino Cassom, John Merritt, Billy
What's going
Nix,
on, you guys?
Alex Dorley, Clifford Paul, Dr.
How everybody feeling out there? How everybody feeling? Man, that was a wonderful, wonderful interview. I think Cynthia McKinney is full of information. Yeah, Cynthia McKinney, I vote for her. I vote for her. It's a lot to talk about with her. All right, we about to come back.
And the crew. Music, talk, and so much more. 1230 The Source at 1230kcoh.com.
Keep it hot every day.
Yes, we are back. We are back. We are back. Indeed. The song in the background is called Love Yours. Love Yours. We're gonna go ahead and let that be the theme for the rest of the evening. Let me go ahead and do this. 1230 The Source caller. What is on your mind? You're on the phone with Tyrone. This is Soapbox Hero.
Wow, Tyrone. I thought they would never shut up. She never shut up.
Oh man, you see she was a wonderful interview.
I'm ready to ask her a question. She just go on and on with it.
She got a lot of good information. What's on your mind?
We didn't ask her all that. We got other people trying to get a word in too, and she takes up all the time and like go down and get some more behind.
She's a busy lady. She's a busy lady. Interview after interview after interview, and I'm sure she's been doing it all day. She doesn't live here. She's just here now during this situation. Come on, man. She gave some good information. There wasn't nothing you like.
Nothing, man, because I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, see, maybe you just keep forgetting.
Hey, does she ever shut up?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. But we don't need her to shut up right now. We need her to be talking.
Okay, bye.
All right. So, I got everybody feels some type of way. I guess he wanted to call and say what he wanted to say. I think it was a wonderful interview. In fact, I'm going to open the lines for a second. The phone number is 713-668-1230. 713-668-1230. Yes, that was Cynthia McKinney, 6-time senator from Georgia. She was a state rep from Georgia, first Black woman to ever sit in that seat, and they didn't like it because she was saying things that she had saw. 1230 The Source caller, what's on your mind?
Tyrone.
Hey, how you doing?
Excellent interview, my man. Cynthia McKinney, is there a way we can replay that or you can pass it on to parents? I would love to hear more people listen to her. I mean, excellent interview, Pat. And I don't know the rules of radio. I'm going to try and have it taped. And with your permission, I want to pass it on. excellent interview, Tyrone. Have a good day, sir.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have a wonderful day. Thank you for the call, and I will make sure that that we have a copy of it here at the station. I will make sure of that. 12:30 The Source. This is Soapbox Heroes. What's on your mind, caller?
I think I better call Tyrone.
Hey, what's going on with you? Thanks for calling us.
It's been a minute, man. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. I'm glad to hear your voice. Glad to hear your voice.
Man.
How's everything going?
Oh, pretty good, man. It's just I get a bad reception sometime over here, at night, man.
Oh, really?
When you be home,
Okay, well, look, you could go on 12:30 The Source on the internet, and we stream there also. And if you don't get that, I also stream on the Soapbox Heroes channel on YouTube. So we have multiple ways to listen when the static get thick.
Oh, okay then. Well, because I was talking to Ralph Cooper earlier today, and we got disconnected, but we were talking about, the guys that want to go to the barbershop. The barbershop's getting ready to open up, and a lot of people are scared to go to the barbershop. But, because I was a barber, I cut out for 10 years, man, I tell you what. But, the barbershop is one of the most sanitized and sterilized place next to a hospital that you can go in.
Okay. Especially keeping your equipment clean, right?
Yeah, that's for one thing. And then the health department inspects that place like once a month. And then they come in there, randomly sometime and check and everything. So it has to be clean at all times. And then that blue light that the barbers put their tools in and everything, that thing kills germs. It's ultraviolet ray.
Yeah, that UV light. Yes, sir.
That UV light. That's what that is. So it's automatically all day. When you come in there the next morning, it's already to kill germs to sterilize the place. You know?
So you're saying it's go ahead and it's time to open up the barbers, or don't be afraid if the barbers are using proper precautions.
Proper precautions, with their mask on, and with the doctors use to operate on that shield. Put their shield on.
Yeah, over their face.
And they over their face, and their mask on, and their gloves, and have the patriots. About 2 or 3 of them at a time, space them out. And, for them to have their masks on, and man, there should be no problems. You could barely catch a cold in that place.
Yeah. and now I'm thinking about it, there is a lot of disinfecting going on. Most barbershops I know do get cleaned at the end of the day, more properly than what they did when they cleaned the subways. You saw they cleaned the subways in New York, and they stopped the subway system, but they had them go in there. They didn't have on hazmat suits. They just had on their regular uniforms with a mask and gloves. I'm like, wait a minute. So you're going to save everybody else, but you're going to kill them.
Yeah. They had PPE on.
Not for what it would take if you're going to go clean something that might be as contaminated as a subway system. And cleaning the subway system, one of the biggest problems with doing it was displacing all the people who live on the subway. Ain't that a
Yeah. I know they were really bad. They had to give up their little house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Them kind of homeless people live out there on the street.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to hear any of the interview with Cynthia Mckinney?
Yeah, I heard the whole thing.
What do you think? What do you think about what she said?
Well, I enjoyed it, man.
Yeah, I
enjoyed it.
And,
you know what I mean?
And I enjoyed it. How often is it that you get to talk to somebody who has had a peek behind the curtain? She's been there. She was there. She was a congresswoman for 12 years. Now, what I find outstanding is this: being a congresswoman for 12 years and now not being able to get a job in the United States because she has kind of just been shadow banned. That lets me know that that's somebody that I might want to listen to.
Exactly. And if you have followed Cynthia Mckinney, like she say, 12 years, if you have followed her, I mean, especially when it comes to the African American views.
Yeah.
That that lady is she's a fighter. She scraps for a scrapper for African Americans, man, up there. She was a voice, and that's what they didn't like.
Yeah, she didn't like it. She got up there asking questions. She asked Rumsfeld questions on 9/11, and they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man. We're going to talk about what's going on over here in Georgia. Have you heard about that? The man who got shot in Georgia. Yeah, Ahmaud Arbery. What do you think about that? Let me get your thoughts about that. I know that wasn't something that I said we were going to bring up, but since you're here, what are your thoughts?
Well, that's really sad, man. And from what I heard about it, I don't know all the intangibles of what actually happened, but what I'm hearing is the man was in his own neighborhood. That was his neighborhood that he was jogging in.
Yeah.
And where these people come from, how could they feel like they could take law in their own hands? Anyway, it was wrong. Any way you look at it, even if he was breaking in the house, it wasn't their business.
Exactly. Exactly.
Don't jump out with guns and all of that, man.
Yeah.
That man was fighting for his life.
Yeah, and there has been a video release of the murder, and in the video it shows him scrapping with one of them for the gun and getting shot, and another man is on back of the truck. It looked like a hunting expedition, and now we're finding out that the person who recorded the video was in on it too. Helped trap him, and so. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like a hunting expedition. And but it's something that we do need change. What would be your suggestion for change? And then I'm gonna let you get the last word. Go ahead.
Oh man. Well, I know one thing we need is justice reform. We don't get any breaks when it comes to justice for the African American. It's like two different sets of laws, and I mean, them people there, they didn't even have to go to a hearing or anything. They still run around, didn't get locked up,
Yeah. Yeah.
And if in 2 ways it would have been me or you, we'd still be sitting in jail.
What you mean
still?
This would be the beginning of our jail sentence. We would never get to see the light of day. Ever.
I'm telling you, man.
Oh,
I just hope nothing like that ever happens in H-Town. I really do, man, because these brothers here, man, they just really they issue for a scratch. These African American brothers here, I know some heavyweights, and they issue for a scratch. I just hope something like that don't happen because it ain't gonna play out like it's playing out in Georgia. I guarantee you. You
know what? And I'm glad you said that. What bothers me and what worries me is this. And I'm not minimalizing what happened in Georgia, none at all. Mm-hmm. But what I am minimalizing is when the media shows us these things, because this is not the first time since the last major case, or since Trayvon Martin, or since, Michael, what was his name? Since these last
Ferguson up there.
Yeah. This stuff literally happens a lot. Even people, vigilante shootings by police officers. And what gets to me is when they start giving it to us. Like now they're going to start bombarding us with it, and then after November, it's just going to disappear. And then it's going to come back again before a next election cycle, and then it's going to disappear. And so my question is, what the hell is going on in all the time when it disappears? And why are you guys bombarding us with it now? The selection is what I worry about.
And then we have a president, he hasn't even commented on it at all.
Well, he can't. He's painted himself into a corner to where he can't be honest about race-related things. And I think that's what he gets. When you play a hand, you got to play it out. And he started to go in that direction. So that's where he got to go. And so that's what but I want to see something tangible from somebody.
Me too, man.
Me too. I want to see how this don't play out, man. I mean, the people in Georgia, that little town there, you know, they kind of really scared. They ain't trying to say nothing. Oh, well, but the mom is really speaking up. But the dad is like, oh, well, you know, yeah, well, we ain't gonna, you know, we waiting on Jesus.
Yeah.
Hey, man, well, Jesus is already here.
All right, man. I appreciate you calling. Oh man, 12:30 The Source. This is Soapbox Heroes. What's on your mind, caller?
Hello?
Right here, right here.
Hello?
We're here. You're wrong. We can hear you. What's going on? What's on your mind?
Yeah, man. I'm going to tell you what the whole deep thing is. That ain't nothing but them Klansmen up there acting a fool.
Them Klansmen's acting a fool?
Yeah, see, now, the minute we catch one of their tell us, doing something, they want to tear the whole town down. Now, they should, no justice, no peace.
No justice, no peace. So you saying go ahead and let it hang. You say let the voice of the unheard go ahead and be heard.
Right. Because that ain't nothing but them Klansmen coming out the closet. They were in the closet. Now they're coming out the closet.
And
we just come on back. We might as well come out the closet too.
And sitting back from afar, it's hard for me to say that's not what happened. I'm not going to sit here and say that's definitely not what happened. Just looking at it from an aesthetic point of view, the way they hunted him down, and I don't want to mince words. I don't want to say that, you know, I don't even want to just say they killed him. I feel like that's too polite of a term. They hunted him. They hunted him like wild game out in the sticks. And I think just look at it. It was a cold murder, and I think everybody involved should go to jail, including the prosecutor and the DA who sat on it, who actually saw the video and had the video. Did you see the video?
No.
Okay, well, I'm not going to ask you to watch it. I'm gonna leave that up to you. But if you run across it and watch it, then let me know. But it's definitely something that would that puts a hurting on your soul when you see it.
Because we can't get away with nothing. They watching us like a hawk.
Yeah, definitely.
We can't supposed to have this, and we're not supposed to do that, and we don't supposed to have live in the house and all that.
Well, it's we're looked at as lesser than.
A student has a certain time to come out of the house.
Yeah.
And they come out the house and they get ready.
Yeah. What worries me about this
that's why they want us. That's why they want us in the house, so they come act a fool. By the time they play their music, just tone it down a bit.
Yeah. Well,
okay. So we play our music. It's a long.
Oh, it's a party. Yeah. We have a problem barbecuing and doing things like that. Because that is a lot of the problem. Sometimes they'll look at us as if we're supposed to be subservient to them, as if they own us, almost like a dog. And the sad part about this,
I don't know why they're acting like this, but we all got to live together.
We do. We all have to live together. We have to figure it out, or we don't, because it looks like things have not been being figured out, and it does seem like we're kind of turning our wheels, and that's what bothers me as well. Not just the turning our wheels, but the perception. I haven't seen anybody treat a wild dog like this, literally. I have seen people more apprehensive about killing a rabid dog that bit their kids than how they felt about this young man. And this is the thing. When we have these situations, go ahead.
They're trying to be better than us. If they see us with $1,000, they're gonna run and get $3. They're trying to outdo us, They see us with a big house, they go run and get a 2-story house, big enough.
All right, man. Well, I want to thank you for the call. I appreciate it.
I want to get that straight up there.
Get what straight?
Get that thing straight up there.
All right, we're gonna get it straight. I appreciate you. Say get that thing straight. But yeah, what bothers me is it just seems like the callousness, the lack of empathy, the lack of compassion, the lack of humanity that they had toward this young man. I'm not going to go all the way out there and say everything that happened because I don't know everything that happened. And I know sides are going to paint their sides, and I know they're going to bring up his criminal history. And here, and what I like to do is take away all excuses. But still, at one point in time, when is it going too far to murder someone? To murder someone in cold blood, and then murder someone to the point to where you have someone filming it and you have somebody else standing on the back of the truck just in case he gets past you. It almost seems like the mentality was, you know what? We're about to go out here and we're about to wrestle a bear. That's how you wrestle a bear. That's how you hunt something like that. We're going to go out here and I'm going to try to get it up close and shoot it up close. And if I miss, you'll be able to shoot it after I miss. Talking, I mean, about a guy that's jogging, about running, whatever, however you want to phrase it, however you want to phrase it. And see, when we get into these things so often, and of course, the men who did it, they deserve your anger. They deserve your outright. They deserve that. They deserve that. But don't take focus off of the people who have facilitated the right for them to be able to still be walking around free with clear evidence that, hey, this was not just a citizen's arrest. This went too far. This went too far. And I know, and like I said, I don't like to come out with details that I don't know because I don't know if they had a call. I don't know if they already knew something. I don't know if the guy, he was a former police investigator for the district attorney's office in that city that they were in. I don't know if he had a police scanner. I don't know. I don't know none of that. And I don't want to go too far in that rabbit hole. And I think we all have to make sure we don't go too far down a rabbit hole of giving facts that we do not yet know, because then when other things come out or when more information come out, it may make us look as if we don't know everything and we're just being emotional. So I would say, how about we be strategic about it. We see it's wrong and we want justice, but we got to get after them prosecutors. We got to get after them district attorneys, the people who allow these things to just continually happen. And if this is something where it's just a case of he was able to get away with it because of his allegiance with the police, my question is always this. People always say, well, you know what? All cops aren't bad. Well, whoever pulled up on that scene, whichever cops investigated that, the DA, they're related. They're tied in with the police. And so for everybody to try to cover it, nobody coming out trying to wave the flag or blow the whistle, or nobody trying to be that noble police officer, makes me say, you know what? We got to reevaluate that not all police officers are bad. Well, could I say you guys are all bad until proven innocent? Is that okay? Would that be fair? Because a lot of these times when we get into these situations, it's 100% of the police officers there that are in on it. So I'm trying to figure out this calculation. So what are we getting? In Los Angeles the other day, I happened to see there was a guy, he was getting handcuffed, and one of the police officers just went haywire. I don't know if the guy said something, but he just started just beating him up. Bare knuckle to the face, just over and over and over. And then have the right to say, oh, you're resisting. You were resisting. Stop talking. As he is brutalizing this man right there, and somebody's recorded, of course, but what I noticed was the other officer that was there on the scene watched. In fact, backed up because she didn't want to get hit, which also makes me say, are you qualified for your job? Because do you feel as if you couldn't help slow down your partner who was going way too far, obviously? Could you have not stopped him, or did you agree with it? Or are you afraid to just go against the status quo of what is being done? We see here, what was it, Indianapolis, Indiana. A guy gets out, he's on Facebook Live, he starts running and bam. Shot. And no, I know people are going to say, well, you shouldn't run and you this and that. And I get it. I hear those arguments. But again, when does morality start to set in? When do we have morality? When is like, you know what? I'm not going to kill him. We could chase him. I'm not going to kill him. And why are we okay with this? We got to look at these prosecutors and these district attorneys so we don't spend so much of our time just being angry with the people who did it. We got to be angry with the people who facilitate them getting away with these type of things. Let me go to the phones. This is Soapbox Heroes. What's on your mind, caller?
Yeah, they just started another war in Georgia, man.
They started
another war.
Another war?
There's another war everywhere. It's war.
Oh, well, what war are you talking about?
The guy that the Tata.
The guy what?
The guy got beat up by them two white dudes.
Oh, the guy that got beat up out in Los Angeles by the officer.
And they just started another war.
Well, you know, and this is the thing, and I'm gonna be honest with you, when it comes down to people getting hit like that by the police, that's an everyday thing in California. Right there where they are, that's an everyday thing. But and so again, it makes me wonder about the timing. And if they showed us all the time, maybe we'd have it remedied by now. But they only show us enough to get us mad, and then it disappear, and then we kind of subside with our anger.
They don't care. These police don't care because they can always go somewhere and get another job.
Yeah, we do see that happen a lot. We do see that happen a lot. We see that happen a lot.
Yeah, go get another job because they tired of that job. And when you get tired of that job, you go do something else.
Yeah.
You can't like I hate to put you on the spot, but you can't do this forever. You got to go find something to do. You know.
Right.
Something else to do.
Right.
You know, I'm not trying to put you in your business. You know.
You're not getting in my business.
Okay. Let me get out of your business, man. But you know, I found me something else to do. I got time security to do. I said, I got time for it. You know, packing a gun every day, and you don't know who you're shooting at these days. So I found something else to do.
Well, yeah, you got to know who you shooting at, man. You always got to know who you shooting at, man. But hey, I appreciate the call, brother. You have you a good evening, all right?
All right.
All right. All right. All right. And yeah, you guys, but like I said, this is something that after a while you start to unfortunately become numb to it. Am I surprised? No, I'm not surprised. Am I saddened? I am definitely saddened. I'm saddened, and I'm saddened by the amount of times that this happens. I'm saddened by the continuation of it, but I am also saddened by the fact that we don't focus enough on the reasons that it's able to be perpetuated. If people understood that there would be consequences, if they understood it would be consequences, they would inevitably change their behavior. Yeah, if you know it's consequences, you're going to do things a little bit different. If you have full confidence that we're going to get in the truck and chase a man down and potentially kill him, but I may lose my life as a consequence of my action, then I think that would change people's action. And when I say lose my life, I mean being prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. If this was something that you held in high esteem, it's something you would respect. And I think that's part of the problem. They don't have to respect the full weight of consequences. And so since they don't have to expect the full weight of consequences, they do things that people that don't have to bear consequences will do in full mind, able to make non-impaired decisions, decide to chase a man down and kill him. Chase a man down and kill him, wrestle him, kill him, and get up close, and you're going to say, he was trying to fight, as if he wasn't trying to fight, as if he wasn't supposed to try to fight. If we have two random white guys in a truck riding up on anybody minding their business or not minding their business, I don't give a damn what he was doing, but if they're coming up on you with a gun, what do you expect him to do? See, we have fight or flight. And if somebody fights for their life, that doesn't mean that they were looking for a problem. That means that they were looking to stay alive. They were looking to stay alive. So now looking to stay alive has become against the law. It has become against the law. And when you talk about somebody standing your ground and somebody's right to shoot or protect themselves, my question is always, what about the victim? What about a victim? What about Ahmaud's right to stand his ground or to live, to make it home? So now we're putting two people who murdered somebody, we're putting their right to get away with things that they shouldn't be getting away with ahead of somebody else's right to live. And I think that's where we start to get mired down in minutia. We get mired down in minutia. And again, we're going to be mad and we're going to be angry and we're going to protest and we're going to, somebody might even break a window somewhere. I'm not telling you to break a window nowhere, but what I'm telling you is when the DA, when the prosecutor, when these people are up for election, pay attention to that election because those are the key holders to fixing this problem. To fixing this problem, you got to remember why he wasn't prosecuted. And now the prosecutor that wants to come out and say, oh, well, I think this should go to grand jury. No, hold your applause because they didn't say anything as long as it was a secret. 12:30 the source caller, what's on your mind?
Hello, how you doing?
Wonderful, how are you?
I'm holding tight, man. That's all I can do.
Yeah.
Everything that we went through and everything that we've been through and everything that we're going to go through because I watch cops live, LAPD, all the time, every night. Same thing go on. Only thing that's just gonna beat you up.
Yeah.
On LAPD live. But the next 48 hours, we do a lot of senseless killing. And half the time we don't even understand why. We don't even know why we do it. Why we do each other like that. But see, my thing is, everybody said that, we hard on each other. But everybody come together against us. We stand alone. And everything that we do, we always on the front line doing everything. We're the first one to get accused of everything.
Yeah.
And all the other things that happen, we are the first. We on the front line, and they've been doing us like this since it's been a world.
Okay, well here, what would be your suggestion to change things so we could get out of this repeated cycle of happening again and again and again? Okay, killing, mourning, anger, killing, mourning, anger, killing, mourning, anger. And in between and after that cycle, it's always a time of, well, we forget that this happens. So what do we need to do? What would be your suggestion to change the process?
What a group of us need to do is a black group of men. No boys. If you're a boy, you play basketball. If you're a man, you do what men do and take care of your business, take care of your woman, take care of your house, and you do what you got to do. Because all the other stuff that we do is obsolete. And it's boys. All is boys.
Null and void.
Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Major Elvis, Minister Louis Farrakhan. All those guys been preaching to us and preaching to us and preaching to us, and all seems like everything it gets worse and worse and worse. It's just like being in quicksand. The more you wiggle, the deeper you sink.
The deeper you sink. Yeah, absolutely.
And all together, we men, black men, we have been through hell with gasoline underwear, and we still here, and folks can't understand why we still here, why we still kill each other for no apparent reason whatsoever. Oh, I'm jealous of him. Oh, he took my woman. Oh, he did this. And we want to go kill. Everybody else done killed us and
Okay.
took our woman.
And so you're
And made
saying,
us mad.
so essentially it sounds like what you're saying is the same animus that we feel when other people kill a black person is the same animus we should feel when we kill each other, when we do these things to each other.
1,000,000,000%.
Okay. Okay.
And
Okay. And I'll be honest with you. I don't disagree with you. I think the anger should be just as big, and I think it would slow down. Now, I'm not going to say that there is nobody that care, but I think we should feel the same way, because the same way that that this young gentleman was murdered, we see people murdered like that, all the time.
but see, I look at that like Emmett Till.
Yes.
What happened to that man
Mm-hmm.
was uncalled for. It was a group, it was two people that hate, filled with hate, built on hate, and been hating forever, ever since they came here. Their parents taught them hate. Like my daddy once told me one time, he said, you can put some kids out there in the yard, and they would play forever and ever. And somebody gonna come and blow in that kid's ear and destroy him and make him hate. It's people got swastikas and coon caps in they. Well, see, when President Obama was trying to do something good, but the man couldn't do nothing because from day one, they're gonna be the president of no. This cat in the office right now, he can't set him on fire because he's gonna jump up out it. And ain't nothing going. The stuff that he doing, it ain't no check and it ain't no balance. He just got a free reign to do whatever in God's, in this world, whatever he wants to do. And he sits there and all of them gather around him like they're holding church. They're holding their hands together like, oh, yes. He don't believe nothing, and you go against this cat, you out of there. You on fire. You can't go do nothing. You go somewhere and run and hide 60 tail between your legs. Ain't nobody rise up. Who would have rose up against him and all the dirt that he's done?
Nobody yet. Now, nobody has had a successful go at it. But hey, let me let you get the last word. We're gonna get to the next caller. Go ahead.
Thank you very much for letting me speak.
Absolutely.
And God bless everybody. And I hope we all come together one day because if you kill that brother, that same brother to me, this is what I think. That brother that you killed, you're going to need that brother one day.
Absolutely. The lives are worth something. And here, before we get to the next caller, I just wanted to say this. If you just type in man shot and killed, and I like to look at the timing of these things that, certain ones will get a certain amount of press. Well, somebody was shot and killed yesterday in Dallas by the police. Then let me see. It says, shocking moment, man, 21, filming himself on Facebook. Live is shot and killed by police. Home intruder, locked woman, 2 kids in bathroom before shooting man. This is yesterday. This 2 hours ago.
This is going to continue.
Look, man shot dead in Denver is identified. Suspect arrested. Good, suspect arrested. Man shot and killed in Rogers Park. Man shot dead while out for a jog. Okay, they're talking about this current situation. Man found shot and killed near East Liberty Target. Man shot and killed in Maldine Road Hotel, ID'd by coroner. This is today. This is today. You see, and so
there is no end. We're on the road to destruction.
Yeah,
black people are the ones that's going to have to pick their head up, look backwards, go back, regroup, and come back out again. Because where we headed now,
yeah.
To hell.
All right, I appreciate the call. You have a good one.
You do likewise, brother.
Absolutely. 1230 The Source caller. What's on your mind? This is Soapbox Heroes.
I just want to know, how many people got to die before they let us alone? How many people got to die for us to let us alone? We ain't bothering nobody. We going to work like we supposed to do and get our stuff paid for. How many people got to die for us to let us alone?
Well, I don't know if hate will ever let up, but I do think that some type of fear needs to be struck into their heart. And when I say fear, however you want it, but fear, because it seems like these people don't have a fear of a consequence, and we can see why they don't have a fear of a consequence. How can you guys hunt a man and not go to jail? Wouldn't that give you reason to feel like you can do whatever you want to do after getting away with that? Because if that tape didn't come out, it seems like they would have got away with it, right?
Right. And some people are tired of this here, man.
I think we're tired of it. I think we're very tired of it, but I do think we're running the danger of becoming desensitized because so much does happen. Or what they do is give it all to us in a barrage. And so just over the last 2 days, you're starting to hear man shot and killed, man shot and killed, man shot and killed, man shot and killed.
All of them black, right?
You know what? Yep. Over the last couple of days, all the high profile ones have been black. Now, have everybody that been shot and killed over the last couple of days been black? No. And the one that we're talking about in Georgia, that happened in February. And so I do find that a little bit strange as well, that it didn't make national media. It wasn't something that we seen breaking news. We didn't see it. And now it's breaking news. And so what do you think we need to do to move past this, to where we can strategically get past people getting shot, black men getting shot and killed, not only by police, but vigilantes? Because this is just like George Zimmerman 2.0. What do you think we should do or can do to curb that?
Well, just stay away from people. Stay inside like they tell you to. Don't be playing guess who behind the mask. That's what we're doing now, playing guess who behind the mask. You know, I wonder who is that behind the mask. You know, but I don't know about that, brother. But we got to stay inside like he said. But we can't play guess who behind the mask. That's what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Guess who behind the mask. You know, you want everybody wanting to guess who behind the mask. You know, that's good guy, bad guy.
Wow, the good guy, your bad guy, yeah. And the mask.
Some people talk with their eyes, you know.
Yeah, some people talk with their eyes. And one thing that I have noticed about the mask and looking across, again, different news, and see, sometimes it can be deceptive, but you got to pick out what you can see. And so picking out what I can see, it does seem like the lack of wearing masks has become an issue for police to brutalize black people. Not wearing a mask.
They trying to sweep this case up under the rug.
They tried to sweep it with a big broom. And that's why I say everybody who had anything to do with that needs to be in prison. Yeah. Anybody. And those are the lines that we need to push. That prosecutor, the district attorney who sat on it, that district attorney needs to have their face paraded across social media. Everybody needs to know who they are. So when they run again, you can put a face with it. Go ahead.
I said they can't sweep it under. If I was out there, they can't sweep it under the rug. I look up under the rug. I'm a good player.
All right, man. We know that get past you. I appreciate the call. All right. Yeah. And so anybody who had anything to do with it, in my opinion, is definitely in need of a little jail time, a whole lot of jail time. What's going on over here in the YouTube streets? Betty Bruce, so sad. Yes, definitely. Tony, what you say? What's going on with you, Tony? I read the same, Betty B. Yeah, it's bad out there. It's bad out there. And that's what makes it so hard, is because there's such a wave of emotions so fast. And then I wonder if they did show every time this happened, how would we take it? But it does make me wonder, how do you pick and choose? Why wasn't this a big story in February? Why? And we got people down there, we got rappers down there that protest and call people to arms and say we need to do this and we need to do that. But I didn't hear them say anything when this happened in their backyard either. So I'm wondering about all that stuff you got. It's a lot that crosses my mind because these things become very complex. They become very complex. And I do hate the fact that black murder does become dollars for somebody. It does. It becomes dollars for somebody. And I'm tired of the same cycle. We get the murder. We get people trying to hide it. Then we get the same lawyers go down there and then they make a fuss. and then they disappear and nothing changes, and then somebody gets killed, then people get mad, the same lawyers show up, they make a fuss, they disappear, over and over and over and over and over again. It's like a loop. It's like a loop. Who is out here working on legislation to change stand your ground? Who is out here working on legislation for the castle doctrine, making sure that it's more equitable for Black people? Who is out here working on the things that would actually change what we are seeing, instead of just getting mad, talking about it, squeezing some bucks out of it, and then coming back later to do it again with another family? And we never even know what happens to the time prior. We never even know what happens to the time prior. It is time for solutions, you guys. And again, and this is why I say, you know what? Instead of spending all of our time so worried solely about someone like Donald Trump, we need to worry about all the minions under him, all the way down to the local level, who turn their eye and look the other way when somebody is shot and killed. The evidence was right there. They had the tape. The family didn't even see the tape until it was leaked on social media yesterday. The family didn't even have the tape until it was leaked on social media yesterday. Imagine, this is how you find out your loved one was killed. And also, I wonder if it confirmed some things for them. I wonder if it confirmed some things. And being that the prosecutor had it, I wonder if the governor had it. I wonder if the governor, the mayor, we need to know all that. Because all of them, nobody needs to be reelected. No. Nobody needs to, this isn't a conversation that should be forgot about, because we do. We forget about it, and they're going to drop something else on us. I said in April of last year that coming up over the next year and a half, you are going to, and closer you get to the election, the more you are going to see these things. The more you are going to see these things. And I would implore you to ask yourself the question, whoever it is that's showing you, go figure out what they've done since the last time they showed you and the time before that they showed you. Because if they just keep showing you, but they never want to do anything to solve the problem, then they're only showing you to get a certain reaction. We gotta be solutions oriented around here if we want some things to change. We don't give up the fight. Don't give up the fight. I know we get a heavy heart. It's hard. It's hard to deal with it. And again, especially when you are bombarded with it. And when you're bombarded with it, it brings this feeling inside. But they know that. The people that show you this knows that. And so again, I'm not trying to minimize it, but I'm trying to walk a fine line of balancing the importance of them actually, of us knowing what happened, but also the importance of knowing how to take it, how to know how they're throwing it at you, how to know how to receive it and navigate through it, how to know when to say something and when not to say nothing. Because as a community, they like to make us wholesale look like we're crazy. So let's find out everything that go on, because it really don't matter. And when I say that, it doesn't matter, because I feel as if whatever they did to him was overboard for anything he could have possibly had done. For anything that he could have possibly had done. But let's not jump off the bridge. Let's take this in a strategic way. And let's make sure that when these people come up for re-election, the prosecutor, the mayor of the city, the governor, whoever knew anything of it, let's make sure that they are not re-elected. And let's make sure that, we spread the word. And so this gets out. If you're a prosecutor, or if you're a DA, a district attorney, and you're one day you want to get re-elected, these people are not going to have that. These people are not going to have that. But if they know, I could get reelected, I could get elected and do this, and they'll be mad for a couple of weeks, and they'll go out there with their signs. It'll go away. I'll get elected again. And then we're in the same scenario. So, hey, you guys, we got to make sure that we start, we start changing it up, that we focus in on the things that we need to focus in on, because, I know that we are all tired of watching these scenarios. I know that we are tired of watching our loved ones be brutalized. And I know that we do all know that this isn't just happening right now. I know that we all do realize that none of these things are just happening in a vacuum. These are not just sporadic, instantaneous things that happen 6 or 7 months before an election. These are things that happen constantly. 1230 The Source, you are on the line. What's on your mind, caller?
What's going on, brother?
Hey, man, not too much, man. It's just...
Look here, them people about it. Brought that case, that's why everybody got paid, and they sweeping it up under the rug around by now.
Yep.
You see, everybody got paid off. That's why they ain't nobody hush.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Even if they didn't get paid off, they have an allegiance to something that is bigger than the law, which means we have a problem. You see, we have a problem. And what I like to do is I'll say, you know what? We don't have to guess at all. We don't even have to say they paid anybody off. Let's say they didn't pay anybody off. It's still wrong what they did.
It's
still wrong what they did. And see, that's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to give you a whole bunch of extra stuff for you to forget about the simple fact is, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, what we saw on that video was inhumane. You wouldn't do that to a rabid dog. Period.
Somebody saw something. Somebody saw something.
Look,
if you turn that block up and down, somebody saw something.
Yeah.
Somebody. If you go to door to door.
Well, it's on tape.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally on tape.
You turn that whole neighborhood upside down. Somebody saw. You know your nosy neighbors. They saw something. Oh, I ain't seen that. And they the main one looking out the window.
Oh, yeah. You know how that works. And And I don't know who else seen anything, but you know how tribalism works. You know, you see somebody do something, you act like you didn't see nothing. You know how that works. And this is my thing. This happened in February. We're now in March. No, we're now in May. We're now in May. This happened in February. So where was the mainstream media? Where were the activists that were down there? Where were all the activists? You know, and see, this is my thing. Don't just jump on it when it becomes national, because it's going to bring you. You know, you're a civil rights activist. Jump on it when it's local. Worry about it when it's in your backyard. Fight it when don't nobody know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. Go ahead and get the last word.
Oh, thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you for calling in. I appreciate you. All right, you guys, look, we're going to wind it down right here. We're going to wind it down. And I'm not going to be here tomorrow, you guys. I have I have an engagement that I have to make sure that I am there for, that was planned out. But what we are going to do today is we are going to bring in the wise words of wisdom today. Surprise. Hey, Dad, what's going on with you, man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling well.
Absolutely. I'm glad you're feeling well. Man, I was talking to you earlier about cable, and I went and turned it on, and I peeked at something, and I was like, I don't miss this. There's certain things, but when I watch the news and when I watch the way that they give you things, everything is so pressing, even things that aren't really pressing, and especially when we come to like the politics and stuff like this. But hey, it is what it is. But hey, you guys, look, I'm done. I'm finished for the week. I will see you guys Monday. If you guys want to go over to the Soapbox Heroes channel on YouTube, go over, subscribe, hit the like button. Every week we have a community. We have a little family over there. It's not many of us. We're quaint, but we're here. And so you guys can go over there and log in and make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you guys can't hear it there, you can also hear it on 1230 The Source, and you can hear the app. So if you're out here in the terrestrial radio land and you get a little static, there's other ways to get a hold of you guys. So peace, love, and respect. Come on, Pops, let's get the wise word of wisdom.
You know the story. It's 10,000 years old. He asked her mom, could she take a trip to Grandma's house? So she took off, going through the woods on her way. You know the rest about the big bad wolf, waiting to devour her. Except this time, he just blew the house down before she got there. Did you catch that? A wolf from a different story. Yeah, different story, but still a wolf. Different wolf, different ending. Same narrative, different ending. You see how easy it is to tie these two stories together with the big bad wolf? Because we've heard the stories 10,000 times. Our minds are conditioned to accept the ending, even though we know the big bad wolf is out there. Doesn't this all sound familiar? Two big bad wolves, Trump and Biden. So let's change the story. Little Red Riding Hood, you better not go through those woods. You make that big bad wolf come to your hood, and on their way, let them know they are not going to devour us when they get there. And you three pigs, you build your brick house first, because you know he's coming huffing and puffing to blow your house down 2 more times. Then maybe we can make them share some of those deep pocket ideas they have as they pass through. The moral of this story, let's not acquiesce to the big bad wolf before he gets here. Let's make him at least promise us that he won't devour us or blow our house down. This has been the wise words of wisdom on Soapbox Heroes, KCOH 1230, The Source.
All right, y'all. That was a good wise word of wisdom right there. The wolf is still a wolf. Said go through the woods unarmed. All right, y'all, I'm going. I'm about to go home and drink a little wine, a little fine wine. Hey, I'll catch you guys. I'm not going to be here at the station tomorrow, but I am going to do something tomorrow. So we'll be on YouTube tomorrow. I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. Cynthia McKinney was wonderful. She has insight. She was there. What can you say? So, all right, y'all. I appreciate it. What's to say? That's a terrible idea. What time? If I can figure out how to end it.